Welcome to everybody. Now I am going to present one of our research work, breast density classification for cancer detection using DCT-PCA feature extraction and some classifier assemble methods. Authors, myself, Mohammed Sarwar Murshidul Haq, my fellow colleague, Rafiul Hassan, one PhD student at King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, Galal bin Mahashen, Abu Baida, and our another colleague working on Federation University, Australia, Jordar Kamruzaman. My talk has been divided into few parts. At first, I will discuss the objective of this research. Then I will discuss some of the significant work that has been studied in recent past. Then I will discuss the methodology we have developed in this study. And finally, I'll show some experimental result and discuss. As you know, the breast cancer is one of the most dangerous and lethal diseases that found to be common among females. And it is prediction that due to the breast cancer, many women will die if we compare with other diseases. So breast cancer has been put much importance to do more researches such that the breast cancer can be diagnosed and in the early stage. So that the physicians can give appropriate medication to recover. As you know that breast cancer disease diagnosis and prognostics are very challenging tasks. And in past, many studies have been developed to automatically identify and diagnose the breast cancer to help the physician. However, till today, the success of the classifying or diagnosing the breast cancer through some automated system is not that successful. So, in this study, we aim to enhance the breast density detection using a two-dimensional discrete cosine transform with principal component analysis. So it's a 2D DCT-PCA. Now, once we have extracted the significant features from the breast cancer data, we have used some known classifiers to classify the type. Here I would like to mention some related works. As I earlier mentioned, many people have studied about the breast cancer diagnosis. Among them, Mudigonda extracted a gray level co-occurrence matrices. It's called GCM feature. Their features set was based on a polygonal modeling of boundaries to extract a ribbon of pixels across the mass margin. Then TAN has used texture-based image features to establish association between changes in mammographic image features and risk for breast cancer development. Gabor filter bank was also presented in terms of extracting texture representation of the mammograms. Hussain has also adopted a bank of Gabor filters that constituted of different scales and angles to represent micro pattern. As you know, it is very hard to detect the abnormality, for example, dense or versus fatty from the mammogram images. Therefore, some efforts have been also been devoted to develop automatic classification system for breast density. For example, Oliver explored the applicability of morphological features for density classification. They reported an 81% classification accuracy using the MIAS database. Also, in a recent review by a Ganeshan on a computer-aided breast cancer detection using mammogram suggests that KNN neural network and support vector classifiers are among the most widely used classifiers in the domain. In our proposed work, we have used the combination of DCT and PCA to extract the important features from the breast images and used these extracted features, fed it into different well-known classifiers to classify the type. The method consists of 4 phases, as you can see in the figure. The phases are data acquisition, pre-processing, feature extraction, and classification. Now in the data acquisition, the system uses hardware or medical sensory data such as ultrasound or MRI for capturing some raw representation of the patient's breast. After that, these images are pre-processed to concentrate only on specific location called region of interest, RY. Now in the pre-processing, to identify the region of interest, RY, from a mammogram image, we have used K-means algorithm. Now K-means algorithm, it basically would group the image based on pixel gray level intensity. As you can see in figure A, that shows the raw data. After applying the K-means algorithm, we can find the figure C. So it shows the region of interest. So it avoids some of the unwanted pixels from the data. Now since DCT has been proved to be able to aggregate the important information to a small location in a number of studies, so we have applied DCT here to extract the features from the region of interest, and this is the strategy 1 mentioned in the slide. Now in the figure we can see the A here shows the raw image of the region of interest, and after applying DCT, coefficients looks like the picture B, where we can see the important features are popping up, like black color is showing the less important features and white color is representing important features. Now the figure C basically shows the DCT transformed back into the gray level image, so the C will not be considered at all. So after the strategy 1, we applied PCA, which is strategy 2, and to reduce and select the best DCT coefficients as significant features. Now once we have got the important features, we have used 3 well-known classifiers: multiplayer perception MLP, support vector machine SVM, and K nearest neighbor KNN. All of these algorithms are very popular and have been used in many applications to automatically classify, for example, bioinformatics data classification, biomedical data classification, satellite image classification, financial data analysis, and many more. That's why we have also chosen these 3 techniques to classify the breast cancer. As I have mentioned earlier in this study, we have used MLP, SVM, and KNN. Of course, the underlying technology of these classifiers are different. That's why the accuracy performance of these classifiers will also differ. So we have used a majority voting technique to combine the 3 classifiers predictions to a final decision. For example, you can see in the picture, for example, MLP has classified one dataset as class 1, and SVM classified the same dataset as class 1 also, but KNN classified the same dataset as class 2. Since 2 classifiers classify the same dataset as class 1 and another classifier classifies as class 2 here, so we consider the class level of this respective data will be class 1. This is called majority voting. To validate our proposed method, we used the well-known MIAS dataset, which is publicly available, and the reference also given at the bottom of the slide. It contains 322 mammograms of left and right breast. Now, after in the experimental setup, basically the mammograms were initially pre-processed, and then features were extracted as in 3 scenarios. Now, in scenario 1, we select the features from the pre-processed mammogram by using the PCA, and In the subsequent part of this paper, we refer this one as the scenario as PCA. In scenario 2, we select 1000 features following the method as described earlier in strategy 1. Then select the most significant features out of these 1000 by using the PCA. And in the subsequent part of this paper, we refer this scenario as DCT-PCA. Then in scenario 3, we selected the features simply applying PCA to the DCT domain. For example, DCT transformed images. And then following these only, we selected 7 features. And in the subsequent part of this paper, we refer to this scenario as direct DCT-PCA. We will discuss few results. We observed from the table 2, 3 and 4 that SVM has better accuracy compared to the other classifier. Like consider performance of individual classifier only. For the cases where the data features are collected using PCA and data features are collected using DCT-PCA. Now SVM can recognize the dense brains over the fatty better compared with the other classifier, which is revealed through the better sensitivity in table 3, which we can see here. On the other hand, MLP and KNN provide a better recognition to the fatty breast type over the dense type by considering specificity. It is interesting to know that also, like KNN achieves a very high recognition rate for the fatty type using direct DCT-PCA, which is 97.18%. According to the behavior of the classifier MLP, SVM and KNN, we can observe the strength and weaknesses of the classifier over different base type, dense and fatty, for example. Therefore, we cannot depend merely on a single classifier for such classification problem. So as seen in table 5, the majority voting technique obtains better recognition in terms of accuracy compared to the others for cases of DCT-PCA and direct DCT-PCA. This is due to the complementarity of these classifiers. It is considered the best results from the different classifier instead of depending on one, and then vote between these results to obtain final decision. So taking into consideration all the performance metric, the majority voting technique has a balanced degree type of performance over all classifiers. So in this paper, we have investigated the breast density classification using a combination of 3 classifiers like over DCT-PCA feature set, and the majority voting of these classifiers reveals an enhanced performance to classify fatty and dense breast type. In conclusion, the combination of DCT-PCA as a feature extraction methodology along with the majority voting could be a good choice to classify fatty and dense breast from breast mammogram images. A note, the references we have mentioned in this presentation can be accessed from the original paper. Thank you everyone.